Why aren't there more gatherings of 18 to 25-year-olds in our church body or in the church in general? And it's because it's hard to be vulnerable.
I think you want to be a part of Awaken Live because no matter where on the journey you are, you're welcome here.
I'm going to be 100% honest, I didn't see it like, I really don't want to go to Wisconsin. I really don't want to do a 10-hour drive to go to Wisconsin.
My sister kicked me in the butt, asked me persistently every single Sunday.
So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
It was kind of a no-brainer to just come.
It was astronomically different. Astronomically different.
God's word starts to jump off the pages if we'll allow people to have a safe place to express what they don't understand.
I heard from a generation that I think we need to be better listeners.
For this generation, the 18 to 25-year-olds, being involved in leadership so that someday they can take over. Because let's face it, they're the next generation that's going to lead the church.
I was really surprised just how open everyone was in the community groups. With our small group discussions, like we got into some really deep conversation where people were sharing things that I never would have expected, and I even found myself sharing things that I didn't expect that I would tell the complete strangers. Like, it was just a really open atmosphere.
I laughingly said to the community group last night, my generation is a generation that reads about your generation and thinks we have you figured out because we read about your generation, and it's the coolest thing ever just to sit down with the generation and say, talk to me about yourself. Let me listen to you and hear. You know what you're living. You know the evil you're seeing. You know the stress and the anxiety. Jesus as the answer will always be the answer, but how he applies will always be a little bit unique.
The community groups were great. A good time to kind of pour out your heart to people who care about you, have the same faith as you, and want to pray for you.
All the presenters did a good job of saying this is how it applies to you, but without them knowing us personally, it was nice to have that chance to really dig in deeper and say, this is my situation, and have other people help guide the connections as well.
In the ages of 18 to 25, what are you afraid of? How do you deal with it? Where does your faith factor in?
Of how do we deal with fear? In an age where there's so much anxiety, how do we deal with fear? You confess your need for help or rescue.
I kept saying this to my girlfriend the whole time I was here. This was the recharge that I needed. And I feel honestly like this was what I needed, this recharge. And getting to see that, oh, it's not just me and those 5 other people in Mississauga who I do Bible studies with. I mean, it's all of you guys.
When you get together in an event that is either live streamed or you can be a part of, it lets you know I am not alone. Even if you are in a room, visually you're seeing I'm not alone in my faith.
If you feel like, like you're not getting that pick-me-up, it's that pick-me-up that you need and that spur to keep on going and to feel that jolt of, I really do have faith. 'Cause sometimes you're in the dark and sometimes, it gets lonely and you feel lost because you don't have this one thing in common. A lot of my friends are not Christian, so to have a bunch of Christians there to support you and say, hey, I love Jesus too. Let's celebrate that. Let's talk about Jesus and let's be excited about it and let's jump for joy literally and sing and just have a good time.
Yeah, there's no magic bullet, but there is what we've been learning here, which is community. There is that we take care of each other, and there is that we do that in the context of already being loved by God.
You think that you are the only person with those issues. You think you are the only person and that you are unique in your problems, but all of the problems that you have, someone else is going through. Or at least they have their own problems and they know exactly how you feel. Everybody in that conference room had problems and everybody had their own story and everybody understood it and everybody was so supportive.
You can know who God is by what he testifies through his word, but you can also have an experience of who God is the more you get to know the people that he places his spirit into. So getting to know other Christians at an event like this and gathering around God's word together is a huge deal and a huge way to get to know God.
Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling discouraged? Do you feel like you don't fit in, or you feel like you don't belong? Do you feel, unsuccessful or doubtful? Here's where you need to be. This is the place where you can get those answers.
we exist, that rooted in the extravagant love of Jesus Christ, Awaken Alive exists to inspire hope-filled young adults to live what Jesus called life to the full. We're not going to get it perfect on this side of heaven, but you will get a taste. And when you get a taste, for the joy set before you, even if it costs you your life, you will say it's worth it.